Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the property market definitely goes in cycles, and cycles they definitely are. We're going to talk about that property market cycle where the buyer is a little bit of a crybaby, upset that the market's pumping. When does that happen? Why does that happen? And talking about buyers at the moment delaying. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Good morning, Mark Novak. How are we?
Good, Josh, you.
Yeah, good, good. Bit of a interesting topic this morning.
Yeah, well, we had I had Harry last night from the office turn around and say, "Hey, can you guys talk about a little bit, maybe do a video, a training video, or so social media video on what I say to buyers when they want to delay, or what I say to buyers when they're like, nah, look, we're just going to wait and see what happens. We're just going to wait and see what happens."
Yes, yes, and the old property cycle as well. We'll be tying that in.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then guys, the property cycle. There's 5 stages of the property cycle. So you've got a recovery, an expansion, a peak, a downturn, and a trough. Now, obviously, a recovery phase is prices have stabilized, and on the rise, transactions are increasing. Expansion, prices are rising over a period of time more so than contracting. Peak is when obviously prices are consistently rising over a period of time. What we then next were a downturn. So that's when your transactions in volume will fall, because there's that price isn't being achieved for the vendor, so they're either withdrawing it from the market, most likely in a Sydney market, then they would be selling it at a cheaper rate. That's what we're probably seeing at the moment across the board. And then you've got a trough where essentially there hasn't had that stabilization fade. There hasn't been the confidence entered back into the market where people are confident to go out and purchase, increasing volumes of sales, and pricing. So that's a trough there, your 5 cycles. And Mark, you want to bring it in to see how, I mean, how long has this been going for, the property cycle? It's hundreds of years,
Oh,
would you say?
yeah, about 1,000, maybe 2,000 years from memory.
Wow. And it's a very interesting point.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's paralysis by analysis. So I don't know about you, but I don't know about most people out there. But when you think about it, it's paralyzing. Do you really, and seriously, do you really consider the I'm going to buy in that cycle? Let's wait for 6 years. I'm going to buy in that cycle. Let's wait 8.5 years. I'm going to buy in that cycle by 2.5 years. The cycle is a little bit irrelevant because you just need, want, have to buy that property, shelter, family, investment, super, whatever now. And then it's like, now let's paralyze the whole thing. So, and it's honestly like a goldfish. You know, it's like Dora. You watch Dora?
No, I don't watch Dora. No kids yet.
You never watched it?
I know I didn't, but I know Dora. Have little cousins, so familiar with Dora the Explorer.
Mate, you missed out. So Dora comes to the front of the fishbowl and says, "Hey, what's your name?" "No, I'm Josh." And then she goes around the fishbowl and goes, "Hey, what's your name?" You go, "I'm Josh." She goes around the fishbowl, "Hey, what's your name?" "I'm Josh." And, you know, there is literally buyers in the marketplace like, you know what, we'll wait. It's like, wait for what? And it's like, well, you know, there's the war, there's petrol prices, and but you've got finance approved. Yes, I do. And you can afford it. Yes, I can, but we'll wait. And they go around the fishbowl, come back 3 years later. "Hi, I'm Dora." "Hi, yeah. You know, do you want to? Oh, look, I think I might wait because why and why, and then you go through the whole thing, and then so I think the last time there was this coming back to the front of the fishbowl was COVID, and it was terrible. It was terrifying, and you didn't buy. So then the market just went boom, 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 and now here we are again. And it's like, nah, look, I really shouldn't buy. I should wait. And it's like full circle, something else. And the market, I can guarantee, in the future, boom, 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 goes the market, and then you there again.
Exactly right. And like one thing I want to really push is the fact that the most extensive analysis on researchers, statistics done in any field take a collective data over a span of time. They never, circle in on a period. Generally, they'll take all the data points in. So they'll take in that 1,000 years, for example, of the property cycle, and they'll make their analysis based on a long history. So, you sort of forget that when it comes to property cycle. Same analogy, holds here. Exactly how you said, through COVID, other past experiences or major events, cycle seems to have always done the same. You've got that uncertainty period, probably that downturn or trough. Restrictions are done with COVID. Boom, we're back to where things are, and even further ahead. Big news again this morning with this Iran war. The UAE is actually voted to opt out of OPEC. Guys, OPEC is a group amongst 80% of the world's reserves of oil. So them leaving OPEC is probably a sign of, their idea in the future or next year is actually to increase the amount of barrels they're producing from 3.4 million to 5 million per day. And what that means is a large supply entering the world market, which would then bring prices down. So, these are the sorts of changing points after conflict where, we've seen $3 a litre for diesel. And 6 months down the track, if things like this start to domino effect and there are other countries that pull out, and all of a sudden there's a large supply of oil brought to the market, well, that's where inflation starts, cost of raw materials and things like that. So I think that's it repeats itself in a different story.
It repeats. If it's not oil, it's going to be, I don't know, flour. If it's not flour, it's going to be, no silicon chips. If it's no silicon chips, it's going to be, no lithium for batteries. Crisis world. It's just this cycle. It's this cycle. And I've got to talk about the heading. What's Lisa saying? And the market went up and up and up. The pandemic, interest rates, COVID, the market went up. It always went up. It's true. But I think, and I want to talk about this heading because it's a heading that grabs your attention. We're not talking about the buyer that just can't afford property. My heart goes out to people that are stuck in the rental cycle, can't afford to get into the market. I'm talking about the buyer that has capacity, has an approval, is ready to go, and waits. And then we talk to them. They say, "Can you keep an eye out for property for us?" And then we ring them and they say, "Yeah, we're going to wait a bit longer." And then we ring them again. We're going to wait a bit longer. We're going to wait. And it goes on for years because they're waiting for a good time. And when it's a good time, they're like, "Oh my God, the prices are too high." And it's like, yeah, okay.
Exactly right. I think that's the home run there, Mark, is that these buyers are essentially coming down to a time where the rest of the market's feeling the confidence again, and essentially paying hundreds of thousands of dollars more at some point for the same property down the track. So I think that's where we're trying to get at for buyers that are in a position to execute on property, is that they're waiting to hear on Channel 9 that, oh, hey, things are great, or, interest rates might be on the way down to the next result. They're waiting for that vote of confidence, following the rest of the sheep. And in the end, they're actually doing, hurting themselves by missing out on that opportunity and coming back to the market when it's more competitive more expensive. When they could have purchased, and that movement in growth would have been equity that they own.
That's it. That's it. Because people were very quick on the break. Petrol prices have gone up. Petrol prices have gone up. I haven't seen anyone as fast on the trigger saying petrol prices are down, petrol prices are back down, I have had no one say they're down and I'm buying. They're all like, they're up and I'm not buying. So there's just this, can't you see the pattern that it's not equal? There's much more people to like, oh, petrol prices up. I'll wait. Dora, going back to the front of the fishbowl, It's a great excuse. What's Lisa
Definitely,
saying? Petrol prices have come down. Has anyone mentioned this? Yes. And who didn't buy during the year 2000? So Josh, do you remember the year 2000 bug? What was meant to happen there 26 years ago?
Oh, that was the
world was going to
computer
stop. It was going to stop. Computers were going to crash. The world, computers, banking, stock market, everything going to crash. Don't buy.
And it's important that we have these discussions, Mark, because us being in it every day, you get to see a different level to what the everyday person does, and you do get caught up in the headlines and the conversations at a work lunch. So I think it's important, and our duty is being on the ground, that it's an uncomfortable topic to bring up, and some people take it the right way, wrong way, but I think it's our duty to bring these things to light. Because it seems to be the people, the smart, the people that do well are the people that are buying in these times in the buyers markets and generally selling when it's at that expansion or peak market. And it's just being aware of things like this, especially if you're looking for that second property as an investment. If you are wanting to take into consideration timing on that, it's good to be educated on this stuff because, like you said, it continues to repeat itself. It's something that a system that can be taken advantage of. But it's also, one of your biggest investments in your life, buying a property, and you want to know what's going on with your biggest investment. So I think it's important that we talk about these things because, it tends to get buried underneath the headlines of the doom and gloom.
And that's okay if you've got capacity. And I'm talking about people again that have got capacity to buy, not having a go at people that don't have capacity. I'm saying people have got capacity and go, okay, I'm going to wait. It's like an animal kingdom. You are going to, the animal that actually naturally hunts. It's always hunting. It doesn't care about the weather. You know what I mean? It's got to survive. And then you've got the animal that's like puts its head above and ducks. You know what I mean? There's the different animals. I get that. But what I'm saying is we do have a choice here, and I think that when everyone's zigging and zagging, when everyone zigs, I don't mind zagging. And at the moment, we're seeing people saying, "I'm just going to wait," and they're going to pay more in the future, guaranteed. And if that's a conscious decision, completely get it. But make sure you're just not following the news to base your emotions on, "No, I'm not going to buy."
Exactly right. Good way to finish it. Definitely.
Mr. Economist, what are your notes before you go? What do you want to say?
My notes before. Yeah, in summary, buyers, you've got the ability to buy. This is a buyer's market. I do believe
it's your
probably
market.
Exactly right. Take advantage of the opportunity, or else you'll start to face more competition towards the end of the year. I think what we'll see happen is, and just this is obviously off the top of the cup, but I'd say next 3 months we sort of come to a stabilization period. I think they'll start to get a handle on inflation with maybe one more rise just to stabilize the market, and then I'll see costs come down with especially oil and things like that. So I actually feel like towards the end of the year, that loosening of monetary policy will start to come into effect, and we'll see a fairly competitive, vibrant market towards September. I'm thinking into the end of the year for a really good run. That's my take on it. And if you're a buyer in the market in the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. This is your window of opportunity to make money. How you make money in real estate is buying well. Some of the biggest influences just from my journey in real estate of people that own the 15, 20, 30 properties, landlords that I've got to soak in that knowledge. That's probably been one of the biggest lines of all mentioned to me is buying in real estate is when you make the money. So take advantage of the buyer's market. Mark?
All I heard was, or what resonated the most with me was what I heard was, it's a buyer's market. Duh. Like we've named the market after you. It's your time. It ain't a seller's market. Half the time, a third of the time it's a seller's market, a third of the time it's a buyer's market, and a third of the time we call it a balanced market. It's sort of in between, a hybrid in between. It's a buyer's market. Go time. See ya.
See you guys.